Dan, welcome to Denim, the channel where we explore denim history, culture, the LVC collection, the Indigo Invitational. And this is an episode I've been meaning to do for years. I'm talking years. And it feels like it's always becoming more and more relevant. So I hope that this is one of these episodes that will kind of last for years and feel like it was made yesterday. But I'll share some experiences, and I really hope to see your feedback about what your stories have been like. And I'm talking about tariffs. Well, this whole episode is going to be on tariffs and ties. But yeah, really the tariffs. I know it's been something in the news now, but it's been since I've been starting the channel. And if you want to really get a denim head angry, you can talk more about tariffs. Because what really boils my blood is most of us is how we're unable to do trades. Sending something outside of your country means you risk this whole other fee, and as a seller it can be returned back. As a buyer, you don't know what that fee is going to be until it shows up at your door sometimes. So it's best to just buy from a retailer or a person that is selling within your shipping zone. And then you should be saving on some tax money. There's reasons for tariffs, and there's good and bad ones, and there's relevant and not. But a lot of times I think in reality, in practice, it all gets lost. So I want to talk about a couple episodes and how they compare to the overall spectrum of what's going on with the trade wars or tariff wars, and whatever they're calling it in this chapter of 1984 we're living in. I live in Poland. I'm from America, and I'm going to share some experiences about that. But I bought from Japan, Australia, Ukraine, Canada, US. So I've seen what it's like coming from other countries. This is a shirt that I just love. I love this shirt. I get a lot of great comments about it. It's my favorite Henley in the LVC collection, the distressed striped warm one. And I jumped to buy it, and it was outside of the EU, so I had to kind of splurge for myself. Now, this was made in Portugal, purchased from the US, a US company, a US person, but made in EU, going to EU. And I have to pay somewhere between 25 and 30% is what they declare is the value. And it doesn't really make sense because I'm purchasing an item that was manufactured in my zone. Now, with the Levi's jeans, let's say that you buy a pair of 1950s Levi's, but you buy them from a retailer in Japan. Then you're paying a tariff to protect the retailer in the US who has a specific, that's what doesn't make sense about this. You're repatriating the item. The manufacturer isn't the one who's hurting or benefiting. It's really just them taking money off of the sale. The next one is an interesting story. I bought a yellow Henley for my wife from Ukraine before the war started, and I got slammed with it was like over 30% tariff. I was like, yikes. And then this camber shirt came, and this was my favorite camber shirt. I was so excited to get this, and I think I bought it right after the war broke out, and they stripped the tariffs. So I basically got it with tariff-free, and that was a huge incentive. Went back and bought like the other 3 yellow Henleys for my wife because they were so cheap, like $15, and then so sometimes things work out to an advantage that don't really make sense. But this item particularly, I think, was made within the EU. Double check on that one. And it shouldn't be, based on where it's manufactured. These are the kinds of stories that you're dealing with. Now, I know you don't have to pay sales tax, but just make it some even amount with it, or just encourage more sales, especially with items that are not using new manufactured plastics and chemicals. You should be getting a discount on this reusing things. This next one is just gonna make your blood boil. So I moved from the US to Poland, and I basically came here with like one duffel bag, 2 pairs of 501s, and didn't get anything until a couple years later when my mom would come out and bring me a few items. I had a friend holding a few things of mine, and it basically said, you can, books, the other clothes, whatever, ship me my ties, because these are the most sentimental item I have, are these ties that my mom made back in the late 60s, early 70s. And she made them for her dad when she was learning to sew, and I kind of inherited them, and they're precious to me. I just adore them. I used to wear them into offices. They have flowers on them. They just sparkle. And I asked them to ship them FedEx. Well, I knew FedEx was going to be over like $200 anyways. All right, I saved up. I wanted that. And this was about 2021, so the height of COVID times. And I needed to get them, make sure they're protected. He was moving away and I needed to get these. So I had him shipped them to me FedEx. I decided to insure them for $1,000, which I thought that would make it like, okay, can you just, you understand this is valuable to me. And then he calls me up from the Kinko's FedEx and is like, oh, it's gonna cost like over $500 to ship because of the insurance. Oh, what? Okay, we'll lower the insurance. I just want them to take care of it. How about $500? All right, it's gonna be about $250 now. Whoa, yikes, okay. All right, just do it. A week and a half later, they show up at my door, they have a box, and they just say, they want in zloty, Polish currency, they want an equivalent of $500. And I'm like, for what? What are you talking about? I already paid for the shipping and it should be this. No, this is the tariff on it. And I'm trying to explain, and it goes back. They drive it all the way back to the big city, an hour and a half away. And I'm swapping emails with someone on the Polish FedEx, and there is no explanation why 100% declared value on sentimental value items. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I had to cough it up. There's nothing, they were gonna just basically ship it back. I would have lost them forever. And see you, FedEx. Unbelievable. So this is a story I've been meaning to share since the inception of the channel. And with all the talk about tariffs, it's just like, where is it going? Well, who is benefiting from this? How is FedEx legally allowed to just do 100% tariff on the US to Poland for sentimentally declared values, not purchase values? It's ridiculous. And you should be allowed to, when you move in your lifetime, you should be allowed to take $10,000 worth of clothing and small items with you without having to, and declare them without having to pay tariffs. But no. But I do love the ties, and if I could just talk about the ties, I just love, this is my favorite one. This is the one I hope to be buried in. And it's just like a really wonderful color. Love flowers on clothes, shirts, ties, curtains, bed sheets. And my mom had some special little labels made. Different ones too. This is the one I would wear if I were out yachting. I just feel like it really calls to the yacht life, or boat life as they call it. This is if I'm in a psychedelic version of Texas Chainsaw. I think that would go down pretty well. Just the shape of it is really screaming Leatherface. I know these two are very loud with the coloring. I used to like to wear louder colors a lot more. This is, I think, the most conservative one. It's just wonderful, though. I enjoy wearing these. They brighten up my day. They brighten up other people's days. If I were going to court, if I were doing some job interview, then I need to wear something more conservative. I do have like regular ties. I guess this cornflower blue and the green, somehow this green one, is considered normal. This one. This is really my first tie that's like in my collection. I got it in '94. I was in high school and I needed to have some kind of ensemble of a suit. So we go to Nordstrom's, or one of those store, Macy's, and looking at a sports coat and some slacks, and then I'm looking at ties, and I see these are new and they're Jerry Garcia makes them. He's like, nah, he wants to be a painter now, and he's turning his paintings into ties. So then a year later, he dropped dead, and we found aliens the same weekend on Mars. Now we found aliens again. It's like full circle, just waiting for him to like resurrect or something and hologram him. But yeah, this is like normal-esque. This is as normal as I would prefer to wear. What do you wear for ties? How do you feel about tariffs? I'm Dan. I love talking about jeans, sentimental clothing, and the history of clothes and fashion. It's a very interesting way to examine culture in how these trends change, styles change, because we haven't studied it enough. Be a friend, subscribe to the channel. Love your jeans.